Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope that everyone is doing really well and everyone's had a lovely week. I wasn't actually planning on doing this video this week. I did have a video planned. I wanted to do a get ready with me whilst I answered some of the most asked questions that I get over on my Instagram. So this weekend it should have happened because it was my brother's 30th birthday. We had a surprise Glastonbury themed party for him. I'd put a lot of effort into my outfit and I was dying to show you, but I'll still insert a little picture and a few videos here just to show you what it was like. But anyway, I ended up helping out with setting up, and I also had a yoga teaching that I was doing that morning. So I had a really busy morning and I only had about an hour to get ready, so I didn't end up filming the video. So I just thought, why not do it tonight then? And I thought we could spend an evening together, just see what I get up to in my 5 to 9. So in the evenings after my job, I have just now finished my clinic for the day. So I have done 2 clinics today, one this morning, one this afternoon, which were fairly busy, as you can imagine, working in the NHS. But yeah, so I am gonna go off for a walk first, and then I've got a couple of other things planned tonight. I'm actually gonna do a workout at home, so I'll show you guys my home gym, which actually don't think I've ever showed on this channel yet. But yeah, I'm gonna do a home workout, some yoga, because my back has been a bit sore today. But yeah, so I'm gonna take you along with me, and I am also gonna answer some questions that I was supposed to answer on the get ready with me. But yeah, let's just see how it goes and see if you guys like it. I hope you do enjoy. Also, just a quick update on my back. I know that I've spoken about it a couple of times, and I did say a couple of vlogs ago that I was going to the doctors, and I did get an appointment. I have been referred for some rheumatology blood, so checking all these specialist antibodies and genes and things. So I'm then going to be referred to rheumatology because we are thinking it may be an autoimmune back condition, just because of my personal family history. My nan has Crohn's disease. She also does have ankylosing spondylitis, which is a type of autoimmune condition that affects your spine and your hips, and it kind of correlates with a lot of the stuff that I have been experiencing. Obviously, I am hoping that I don't have that, but I obviously, like I say, I want to document everything that I am going through with my own health. I think it's really important because, you know, I try to be as healthy as I possibly can, but obviously there are certain things that you cannot control. And if it is an autoimmune disease, of course you can make it better. However, it's very difficult to completely mitigate that risk. And so yeah, like I say, I just want to be completely transparent with that. But, you know, obviously sitting down for the majority of the day doing clinics is not the best thing. I actually might even invest in a walking pad. So if anybody has any recommendations, then also do let me know. I've just got back from a lovely walk. We are having the best weather in the UK. Well, obviously you would have seen on the videos. I don't remember there ever being a time where we've had this much good weather consecutively in the UK. It's been so nice. So I have been doing a lot of walks, as obviously you've seen if you've been watching my videos. But yeah, that walk was really nice. So I thought before I go and do my yoga, I'm going to start answering some of these questions. So the first question that I got asked for this video was if I could recommend 3 healthy habits, what would my top 3 be? Everybody would benefit from these 3. So I'll say what the 3 things are, and then I will explain why I believe those things to be the most important when it comes to your health. So the first one is eating a predominantly whole food diet. So the second one is daily movement, and then the third one is reducing or completely cutting out alcohol. So those are the 3 things that I believe I've seen the greatest benefit for me. Now, I will insert a picture here of what I used to look like. Now, I don't know whether I've ever spoken about this. I don't know whether, you know, if people have just family, they may not realise, but I have been on a journey myself with my health, with my exercise, with my well-being. Obviously, I am a pharmacist and I've always been helping other people. And unfortunately, a lot of us who are in the health profession don't tend to look after ourselves. And I completely fell into that trap. So once I qualified, within like the first couple of years, I was all of like the late shifts. We would be trying to do overtime for extra money. I was doing on calls and things, and so your health does actually just take a little bit of a deterioration. Like, it is a big change getting into a new routine. And so yeah, I definitely fell into that trap. I felt like also I had quite an unhealthy relationship with exercise and with nutrition before I actually became a professional, or before I became a pharmacist, and to the detriment of me. And obviously that didn't help my situation. So what was happening, obviously we then hit the COVID-19 pandemic, which was a huge change for everybody. Gyms were no longer open, we couldn't socialise with people, we weren't really allowed to go out of the house. Again, my shift patterns changed. And so yeah, this was where I was at I would say about 3 years ago. I was at a point where I think I need to do something. So that's where the first thing comes in, is that I overnight switched to a predominantly whole food diet. Now, what do I mean by whole foods? You probably have heard this term because it has become more popular and people talk about it a lot more now. But a whole food is basically just something that you can recognise as food. A lot of our diets these days, especially in the West, consists of what we call ultra processed foods. And these are foods that have been deconstructed and then put together in a way that makes them more palatable. It increases the shelf life of the foods. But what it actually does is it changes the chemistry in your brain. So your brain is not trained to be able to recognise what that food is and then act accordingly on the inside. And this is where we're seeing a lot of people are now becoming overweight or obese. We're seeing a lot of metabolic dysfunction, and it's because the foods that we're eating are not conducive to actually supporting our health. So that would be the first thing. And I would say the easiest way to do that is if you look on the back of a label. So whenever you go to the supermarket, you look at a packet of food. If there is anything on that label that you cannot recognise, so sometimes it'll have certain alcohols in, there'll be certain stabilisers in, fillers, all of those things you cannot get in your kitchen, then it is an ultra processed food. And I would say to avoid them. Now, it's very hard to completely eliminate them, but if you just try and focus on incorporating more whole foods and less ultra processed, you will see a massive difference. I know that I see a huge difference in, it was really, for me, the actual amount of food that I was craving. My cravings just became so much less. My body was recognising the signals for being full rather than overeating. It was a massive game changer for me doing that. So that would be my first thing. The second thing is daily movement. I feel like exercise is possibly the most important tool that we have when it comes to actually living a healthy life and, you know, improving our longevity. A lot of people will say, you know, oh, you can't out-train a bad diet, and that is true, but I think exercise is so important to actually maintain not only our physical health but also our mental health and our mental well-being. So being consistent with it, you don't have to train hard every single day. You don't have to be doing, you know, crazy exercises, but just doing something every single day has really got me to where I am. You know, I think I discussed in the last video that I do prefer to do impact training every day rather than, you know, do like four days a week of high intense training. Even if it's just a walk, doing something every day for 30 to 60 minutes is also going to change your life. And then the final one is cutting out alcohol. For me, it's always been a social thing, and I've never been someone who's ever drank, you know, at home or anything like that. It's always been about being out for a meal or, you know, socialising with friends. Living in the UK, I feel like the culture around alcohol, it is quite big. It is completely changing now, where people are not drinking as much, but especially within my mid to late 20s, it still was a huge part of my life, and it was still a huge thing, especially again within Liverpool, which is the area I live within the UK. And it got to a point where I actually couldn't remember the last time I hadn't been out on a weekend, which was crazy. And I as you get older, your liver function isn't as good as what it was when you were younger. You then tend to get hungover a lot more easily, and they become, more and more painful. And I was definitely feeling that. And it wasn't just, if I was going out on a Saturday night, it wasn't just the Sunday that I was hungover for. I was then tired for, a couple of days later, and it was really affecting my productivity. I also did feel like my mental health had taken a bit of a turn because I was constantly tired, I wasn't sleeping right, and so I thought I need to cut this down. And over, I would say, the past 2.5 years, I, have reduced massively what I drink. And even now, like, the last time I actually had a drink was on my birthday, which was the middle of April. So we're now towards the end of July, and I haven't had any alcohol since then, which, I just prefer it now. And I feel like it's definitely a journey. If you are somebody who has been brought up around alcohol like I was, and a lot of your family still drink, a lot of your friends still drink, it is a journey. And it's probably not something that a lot of people can just completely cut out. But again, if you actually reduce it down even, you will see a huge difference. I think alcohol has a lot of systemic effects as well, which see it the way that it should be seen, which it is a toxin to our bodies, and it affects everything from your brain down to your skin, down to your gut health. And yeah, it just, like I say, for me, alcohol just became something that just no longer really features in my life. Okay guys, so this is the gym. I actually have never taken these in here, but yeah, this is our home gym where I, for the last 2.5 years since we built it, have been doing all of my workouts. Obviously, we did join a gym about 1.5 months ago now. But yeah, everything that I've been doing over the last 2.5 years has been in here. So to tour it, so we have got the weight section. So it goes up to 15 kilos each, which is definitely enough for me. It wasn't for Lee. And then we have got the Smith machine, cable, which is like also a cable machine. It's got a landmine attachment on it, and got the Peloton bike, which I love, and that's actually what got me into really starting to train. So we got the Peloton bike before we actually built this gym, and with the Peloton bike you also get you can buy a membership where you get access to a load of different exercises. So they do Pilates classes, yoga classes, which I'm going to do a yoga class on there in a minute. But yes, so they've got the exercise bike, we've got a walking pad, which is not the best. We do need to get a treadmill, but they're very expensive. And then we've got a row machine that we did get secondhand, again, that's broken, but it's just really something that we can do cardio on. That is the gym. I am going to do my yoga in a minute. I'm just charging my iPad because, like I say, I'm doing a Peloton yoga class. But yeah, why don't we answer another question before I do my yoga? Okay, so the next question was, what supplements do women actually need? Now, I'm going to be quite general when I'm answering this question because I have kind of a love-hate relationship with supplements, in the sense of, I think that a lot of people take supplements for potentially the wrong reasons. So I always advocate that everybody should be doing the 4 pillars of health and nailing them down before they start adding in anything else. And those 4 pillars are nutrition, exercising daily, getting good quality sleep, at least 7 to 8 hours every single night, and managing the stress. Without those 4 things, there is no supplement on this planet that is going to give you the benefits that all of those 4 things can. And I think what we tend to do is we tend to think that a supplement is going to be able to do that for us, when actually it's only going to be improving our health by a couple of percent, if that. Whereas you're going to get the majority of your health benefits from doing those 4 things. Now, I do understand that nailing those 4 things down is so difficult, and it's definitely something that you have to work on every single day. And it's been something that I've been working on, like I say, for the last 3 years. Stress management for me is still the biggest issue that I face, but I am learning more tips and tricks in order to actually manage it. So I do meditation. I've joined this gym that I've joined, they do Reiki classes, they do breathwork sessions. But yeah, so I think when it comes to supplements, if you're not doing those 4 things, then you need to be actually optimizing all of that I've just said. And then if we look at supplements for women, so it all depends again on you as an individual. if I'm being honest, you know, a multivitamin, there was studies years ago that did suggest that taking a multivitamin can actually lower your life expectancy. They've now come out and actually found that that was false information, or it was the actual trial that they did was flawed. And in fact, if you do take a multivitamin, then you do have better outcomes. So if you're just wanting something for blanket overall health, a multivitamin may be good for you. I also, me personally, I take 2 supplements every single day, and those supplements are an omega-3 supplement and a vitamin D supplement. The reason I take omega-3 is because we are all deficient in it. Almost everybody, especially again in the West, is deficient in omega-3. That's because we don't have enough omega-3 within our diet. So omega-3 foods are fatty fishes, so things like salmon, tuna, mackerel, also things like chia seeds. They contain a lot of omega-3s, but we are not eating enough of them. And then even the actual quality of the foods these days is not enough to be providing us with enough. Now, omega-3 is important for our anti-inflammatory pathways in our body. So without it, it's sort of predisposing us to things like autoimmune conditions, things like coughs and colds. If also you are in a stressed environment, your body is more likely to overreact to that stress because we're deficient in omega-3. So I take omega-3 in order to balance out my inflammatory / anti-inflammatory pathways in my body. The second thing that I take, like I said, is a vitamin D supplement. I take it because it's actually included in the omega supplement, but also living in the UK between the months of September and March, we don't get enough sunlight in order to get enough vitamin D. So I do test my vitamin D levels, which is another important thing when you're thinking about supplements. I wouldn't say to just take any supplement blindly, because we all think about supplements as being as positive things, and actually if we take vitamin D as an example, if you have too much vitamin D, you can cause hypercalcemia, which means high levels of calcium in your blood. It also can increase your risk of arrhythmias in your heart, issues with your heart's electrical signals, which can actually lead to really severe consequences. So if you're not deficient in the vitamin D, then it may not be beneficial for you to take a supplement. So that's why I always test before I supplement. Another one that may be beneficial for a lot of women is creatine. With the studies that are coming out now suggesting that it's really good for cognitive function. So not only does it support your muscular health, it also supports your cognitive decline. As women, unfortunately, we are affected disproportionately by cognitive impairment, whether that is because we live until an older age, whether it is to do with the menopause. Obviously, the jury is still out on that, but like I say, studies have shown that taking higher doses, so I think it's about 25 grams a day of creatine, can improve that, or it can slow down the decline. So that is definitely another one that I will be looking into. But apart from that, there isn't any other supplements that really spring to mind. I know a lot of women do take collagen supplements. I personally don't believe in collagen supplements. I'm yet to see very robust studies where the evidence is compelling that your body actually digests collagen, where collagen is essentially just is a protein. You cannot absorb proteins without breaking them down into the individual peptides or amino acids, which means that it's just the building blocks for a protein. It's how your body could signal to make more collagen when, especially as we age, our bodies need them building blocks in order to maintain muscle mass. I just feel like your body's going to do that over actually producing any collagen. However, I am also a firm believer that if you have found something that is beneficial for you and you do notice a difference in the quality of your skin, then if you can afford it, by all means continue to take it. I think things like collagen, the actual risks associated with it are quite low. Obviously, if you are getting a good quality collagen supplement, and so yeah. But I would always say, whenever you are taking a supplement, the biggest take home is don't just assume that because it's a supplement, it's safe. Not everything, it doesn't work like that. Definitely do your research. And like we also said at the beginning of this question, make sure that you are focusing on those 4 pillars of health. They are going to give you the greatest benefit when it comes to your health. I'm just going to start my yoga, so I'll catch you after it. finished my yoga. That was really nice, and my back feels a lot better than what it did when I first did it. It was hitting a little bit throughout the flow, but it does feel a lot better now. I feel a lot more calmer. But what time is it now? I think it's around about 7:15. Lee's gone to the gym. I've done my workout. We actually don't have any food in, but fortunately enough, Lee said that he's going to go shopping, washing that I need to put away, so I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to get a nice shower. I've got one of them Biodance face masks, the viral face masks, the collagen ones actually, where I think you put them on for like a couple of hours and they go clear on your skin, so I might put one of them on. I'm reading a book as well at the moment, so I like to do a little bit of reading every night. So I'll probably sit down here, make myself a cup of tea, read my book, and literally just like chill out for the rest of the night. Also for dinner, I don't know what I'm gonna have, so it's basically gonna be whatever Lee gets. Anybody else feel like whenever their partner goes to the shops, they literally will only get what's on the list? So whenever I go shopping, I like to get maybe like if there's some new things in, for us to try, if there's like a new vegetable or there's a vegetable that I haven't had for a while, to get what's on the list. Obviously I'm being general here, but does anyone else's partners do that? I haven't put any skincare on yet, so I thought we'd do it together. So I'm going to go in with the Medicube pore pads, and then I am going to use that face mask that I said I was going to use. Yeah, I've been using these now for a few months actually. I'd probably say since around about February, and I feel like I have noticed a difference in my skin. I feel like, to be honest, because we've been having really good weather, I have noticed that I'm getting a bit of pigmentation in my skin, which obviously these won't actually combat that. This is more just for your pores and for like firmness of your skin and stuff. But I probably will have to go back to the girl who does my skin to try and sort out the pigmentation. I do wear SPF of a day, but I do feel like the sun has been quite strong. But yeah, so just use that. I think I've mentioned before as well, I always use this cream that my mum makes. It's more like a balm. It comes out and it's like this texture. It's quite oily, but it's all completely natural ingredients, including a derivative of the hemp plant, which is an anti-inflammatory molecule, and also a natural retinol called bacatroil, I think it's pronounced. But I just swear by this, to be honest. If I don't use this cream, then I break out, and I do notice it when I don't have it. And I always try and go down onto my neck. As I'm getting older as well, I am noticing that I am getting lines in my neck. I feel like I am one of these people that I do want to try and age gracefully. In a world where, there are so many beauty standards, it is difficult because, you do see all these new and nice shiny procedures that come out, but I feel like it's probably important that we do try and age it slightly naturally. Otherwise we'll all just start looking the same. But yeah, I'm going to put on the Biodance Biocollagen Real Deep Mask. So I know that I've just said that I don't take collagen supplements, but actually putting collagen on your skin is different. And I'm pretty sure that I have read studies in the past about it where there was actually good evidence for improving the overall look of your skin. So with this particular mask, it's got collagen in. So it says it contains 243 Dalton, which is an ultra low molecular weight collagen, and hyaluronic acid for a smooth, firm skin. But the collagen is going to give the more structure to your skin, whereas the hyaluronic acid provides like the glow and the plumpness. It's like a gel-like structure where it basically hydrates your skin. So this is one of them ones that you put on, you leave it to go clear, and then you take it off. So I'm going to put it on anyway, and then I'm going to go downstairs, make myself a cup of tea, read my book for a little bit, and then we can answer another one of those questions. Actually gone clear at all. It is going a bit more clear, but I'm eating dinner now and I feel like you just can't eat really with it, so I'm probably gonna have to take it off. That's my skin. I'm gonna go and have some dinner now. So we're basically finishing off the video where we started. I have just had my dinner. It wasn't a very nutritious dinner, to be fair, tonight. I feel like that usually happens whenever we go shopping, because it's usually later on a Monday or Tuesday usually. We will have like an easy dinner, and it's always something like a soup and a sandwich. We got some pre-cooked chicken thighs. I just marinated them in like a little bit of like buffalo sauce with some salsa. We get some olive bread from M&S, which I put in the oven, and then we just had it with some tomato and lentil soup. But it was also quite late, and I hate eating late because it can affect how you sleep. But anyway, it's done now. So yeah, I'm ready for bed now, really. I probably, after I film this, will maybe just go and watch television for like a little bit, maybe watch something on YouTube, and then I'm going to aim to get into bed around about 10 o'clock. But after this, I'm going to film the rest of this because I want to put my phone away. It's something that I'm wanting to do more of, like for the last hour before I go to bed, to not have any distraction with my phone at all. So that's why I thought I'll film this and then I can put my phone down. So we just got a couple more questions that I wanted to answer for this video. So the next question was, how do I protect myself against heart disease? Now, this question for me is the one that I want you to take the most from out of this video, because heart disease, #1 biggest killer worldwide. So statistically, you are more likely to die from heart disease than any other condition. It's something that not a lot of people actually realise. And, you know, we always think about other diseases such as cancers or dementias, which obviously they affect a lot of people, and they are actually the second and third biggest killers. Heart disease is still #1. 3 things that are going to increase your risk of heart disease. The first one is cholesterol. We know that it is causally linked to heart disease. The second one are your blood sugars. So if you are running higher blood sugars, which indicate that you have some form of insulin resistance or metabolic dysfunction, that will increase your risk. And then also levels of inflammation. Those 3 things paired together are going to massively increase your risk of heart disease. Now, the reason why you would have any of those 3 come down to 2 things, and they come down to 1, lifestyle, which is a huge factor, and secondly, it comes down to genetics, which obviously, unfortunately, in a lot of cases is not modifiable, meaning that, you know, you can't really do much about it, but lifestyle, obviously you can. So in order to reduce your risk, I would say you need to lower your cholesterol, and to do that, you need to make sure that you are keeping your liver function healthy, so avoiding as much alcohol as you possibly can. Also, just maintaining a really healthy diet is going to support liver function, making sure that you haven't met like foods that contain antioxidants. The second thing is also going to be to eat things that are going to lower your cholesterol. So oats have been proven that if you have 80 grams a day, they basically bind to the cholesterol within your gut and then stop you from absorbing it. So I would do things like that, and then also supporting your gut health. So you have little bacteria within your gut that actually do the same job as oats, where they can combine with cholesterol and then make it unavailable for your body to reabsorb into your system. So I would say definitely look at that. Obviously, if you have a genetic form of high cholesterol, some patients or some people may need to go on medications, but definitely obviously speak to your doctor about that, because it is a modifiable risk factor. There are ways that you can lower your cholesterol, which will lower your overall risk. The second one is lowering your blood sugars. For that, you need to be making sure that you're eating a healthy diet. Like I said earlier on in the video, eating a predominantly whole food diet, and then also making sure that you are building muscle. So that is going to be the biggest key to actually lowering your blood sugars, because the more muscle mass you have, the more metabolically active you'll be, and also it is the biggest reservoir for glucose, which means it's like a sponge and it soaks up all the glucose from your bloodstream into your muscle and makes you more insulin sensitive. So that's the best things for sugars. And then thirdly, inflammation. Inflammation really is a bit of a difficult one, and it's a very complex area of medicine. And there's a lot of different things that can affect it. Your diet is going to be one of them. Also stress within your body is going to be another. So that could be sort of mental stress that you're feeling, but also stress within your bodily system. So again, having things that are toxins to your body, so drinking alcohol, smoking, vaping, they're all stresses to the body. Also environmental stresses can increase the levels of inflammation. If you have any intolerances to food, that also can increase inflammation. If you have leaky gut syndrome, that can increase the levels of inflammation. So inflammation is a really complex one, but again, if you focus on the 4 pillars that I said earlier on, they are going to overall help to lower the levels of inflammation going around your body. But what I do want you to also understand is that inflammation is also vital to survival. So, we do tend to demonize it a lot, but we do need inflammation in order to actually just survive. So, you have to be careful with that one. And then the last question is, what can people do in their 20s and 30s in order to improve their health for the future? And I would say one of the biggest things is actually tracking your health on the inside. For people who don't know, I have a blood testing company where you can measure your bloods in the comfort of your own home. We look specifically for, like I've just mentioned earlier, the biggest killers. So we're looking at preventing heart disease, certain cancers, dementia, type 2 diabetes, metabolic dysfunction. So that is what our test measures. Now, if you are in your 20s and 30s, if you start to measure all of them biomarkers, then you can implement things within your lifestyle in order to improve them and then mitigate your risk going forward. So that would be the biggest thing that I would say. And then again, just focusing on those 4 pillars of health. So making sure that you are having good nutrition, make sure that you are working out daily, in any form. Like I say, it doesn't have to be intense all of the time, but it has to contain a variety of things really. You have to strength train, you have to be doing flexibility training in terms of yoga and Pilates. You should be doing zone 2 training, which is training at like an intensity where you can still hold a conversation, but it just becomes difficult. And then you should be doing a high intense training as well. It doesn't all have to be within 1 week, because obviously, like I've also mentioned, these things that I'm telling people to do, we should be doing them for the long term. So it's not just something that you're going to do for 6 months and then, get in shape, or, whatever the goal is, and then you're not going to do it ever again. These are things that you need to do consistently. Again, sleep is a huge one, and then stress management. But I would definitely say to people in 20s and 30s as well that we often can think that things are not going to happen to us, or we cannot foresee things in the future, and we tend to live within the moment, especially as you are younger. But from my own experience of seeing patients who are in their 50s and 60s who probably wish so bad that they would have just invested a little bit more into their health, then I think we need to be less short-sighted and really just look into the future and make those small little changes that are going to compound over time. Because again, speaking from experience, it's just so much harder for somebody to get to the age of 50 and then have to do a complete 180 on all of the things that they're doing in the lifestyle in order to mitigate the risk. So test when you're in your 20s and 30s, build up the data so that you know exactly the trajectory that you are on, and then implement small changes, and then retest so that you know that things are helping. And set goals far beyond the next 6 months. The goals that you set should be way above that. It should be that you want to be healthy for your kids and your grandkids. And I think you know, that helps you to then be consistent with the things that you're doing, and then will hopefully give you better health overall. But I hope that this video was useful. You might go away and implement them in your lifestyle, or, you know, look further and deeper into things that we've discussed. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I did enjoy making it, and yeah, I shall catch you in the next video.